earlier today, Twitter actually locked out Donald Trump Jr. after his account where he reposted a story touting the benefits of hydroxychloroquine. I think people should decide themselves. They want to believe things or not, and hear all sides. Some recent studies are showing the positive effects of hydroxychloroquine, not reported by the media. Joyless Behar saying it's unsafe. Dr. Behar, look at earlier this month, researchers at Henry Ford Health System, well, they found that early administration of hydroxychloroquine makes hospitalized patients substantially less likely to die. Yale epidemiology professor says that hydroxychloroquine could save up to 100,000 lives if used for COVID. The mob in the media, they were endlessly promoting a study, turned out not only to be severely flawed. Remember this study by the medical journal The Lancet back in June? Yeah, they had to retract that story. That was widely published, but found no benefit to the drug. They had to retract it all. Then they looked into the doctor. He didn't have a particularly good history. Even suggested it may increase the risk for death. That got widespread coverage. Joining us now, Yale epidemiologist Harvey Risch is with us. All right, so we have the Henry Ford Health Center. They said, used early, wow, extremely positive. We have the Journal of Internal Medicine, same thing. We talked to Dr. Oz at length about that. The thing that got my attention, sir, is this. And that is a guy that has the name Daniel Wallace. He is with Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. 400 peer-reviewed papers. He wrote the principal lupus textbook, chairman of the Lupus Foundation, Rheumatoid Research Foundation. He's now been in 42 years of practice, and, quote, he wrote on April 6th, no patient of mine has ever been hospitalized for hydroxychloroquine or a complication. Then he said directly about the use of it for COVID, and again, this drug's been around 65 years, the risk of taking 400 milligrams of hydroxychloroquine a day following a single 600 milligram hydroxychloroquine loading dose for 30 to 60 days. The risk, he says, is nil, and unless you have an allergic rash or an upset stomach. Nobody used it for 30 to 60 days. Those are his words, and I don't think there's a more eminent or qualified person than Dr. Daniel Wallace. My question to you is, have the media in this country politicized medicine to the point where something that could work, and again, I'm not a doctor, but I urge people to consult with their doctors, and you work with the army you have, as Dr. Oz said, have they done the public a disservice by falsely reporting dangers that don't exist?
Good evening, John. So I think that is true, but I think the problem precedes what the media have done. I think the problem is more inherent in the whole medical establishment and the way we report research today and the way studies are carried out. And this was actually portrayed the best by the editors a few years ago of the New England Journal of Medicine and the Lancet and the Journal of the American Medical Association, who met to complain that they were feeling undue pressure by drug companies to run multiple studies through those journals, to format the studies in such a way that they would get through peer review easily and swamp the major medical journals. And they felt that this was a pressure on their journals and on them to be carrying out this policy. And I think that this drug company pressure has pervaded a large amount of the medical establishment, and it's very hard to get independent work and independent reviews done today. And so I think that some of the pressures came from that initially, and then the media picked up on it, seeing an opportunity to slant the message the way the media want to slant.
Doctor, do you believe Daniel Wallace from Cedars-Sinai when he said the risk is nil? Do you agree with him? 42 years practice, 65-year-old drug. I'm not a doctor, you are. What are your thoughts?
Yes, this drug has been taken by more than 1 billion times. It's exceedingly safe. A group of cardiologists led by Peter McCullough at Baylor Heart Institute wrote a paper that's coming out in the American Journal of Medicine talking about how safe it is, how it's used for COVID. It's a great paper, instructional for clinicians out there on the front lines as to how to manage COVID patients with hydroxychloroquine. And they're cardiologists. They know what the cardiac effects are.
You know, Dr. Oz said to me, when you have the intersection of politics and medicine, politics always win. That's a disservice to the people in this country. Thank you, doctor. Prepare to be attacked as you will be, unfortunately. Turning to another story tonight, last week, Covenant Catholic High School